Hello, I'm back, and today we're gonna be doing a little room edit of 6 of your guys' spaces. So that means we're not gonna be doing anything structural, and we're gonna keep the big, expensive furniture and just play around with that. A lot of these are gonna be new layouts and adding in more color and more layers to the room. Okay, let's get straight into it. So room number 1, this person submitted looks like a living room. I feel like it's very monotone. That's the first thing that jumped out at me. And nothing crazy here, just looks very comfortable, very normal. There are a few things that we could do to it to kind of liven it up. And again, this is just like, take all of my advice with a grain of salt because, my tastes could be different from yours. Plus, I don't know anything about you guys, like what you like, what you don't like. So this is just, for the general public and like how to make your space a little bit more interesting. So far, the main problem is nothing stands out and it feels very monotone. So we're playing it super safe here. So the first thing I did is add some curtains here, just very simple sheer white curtains. This adds in layering and texture. I think it's the easiest way to instantly make a space feel luxurious. Next, I added in a warm toned rug to give a little bit of contrast. And the previous rug, the rug that they had, looks like it doesn't go under the couches. And ideally, you do want your rug to be a little bit, at least have some legs of the couch sitting on the rug. That way your space is gonna feel all cohesive and together. For this space, I did just 2 little coffee tables, like a side table and a little coffee table. That way you can move them around. It's a little more functional. So next we're gonna inject some color into this room. And the easiest way to do that is through pillows. That's like so fun, so easy. Then incorporating that red again, we're gonna put some wall art. And you don't have to do a gallery wall. You can do a tapestry, you could do some other decor, you could do family pictures. So next we're gonna add in vertical height, and I did that through indoor tree and a lamp. You do have a floor lamp currently. I'd say it's just, very standard. It doesn't really stand out or grab anyone's attention. I would maybe put in something a little more interesting, like this one that I put in as a diagonal. It has some diagonal lines and add some visual interest with the metal. And again, goes with that, warm color palette that we're trying to inject into here. So big picture advice for this one and everyone that, has something similar and maybe is thinking of changing up their space is not to be afraid of color, and don't forget about vertical height and vertical weight throughout the room, because it's really easy to forget about walls and just think about, the furniture that you're putting on the floor. So let me know what you think about that one. Room number 2. This is a rental that they just moved into. They have a fresh new baby, and this is just run of the mill, just moved in. Not really sure what to do with the space. There's no defined zones or anchor points, and the furniture is currently feeling like a waiting room. Nothing crazy here. Let's just try to add in some layering and see how we do. So first, I would center the rug. Let's see. Currently, it's centered in the room. I would center it on the patio door, and we're gonna make the right side the living room zone, and we're gonna make the left side more of a kid/storage zone. So center the rug on the patio door, move the big couch to the right, and we're gonna put in the love seat later. I just wanted to show everything before we put it in. So next we're going to help center the space. You can do this obviously by adding a coffee table. Perfect. I would maybe look into a corded chandelier, and those can be really cute, and there's so many options. You just put a hook into the ceiling and you can hang the cord like even in a a wavy pattern and make it its own statement. I would put that centered over the coffee table, so we're creating this new space, this living space area. So now we're going to be switching over to the left side and making our kid zone. First, I would add some vertical weight to that corner with the AC unit so that our eyes aren't immediately drawn to that unit and we have something else to look at. So I just put in a play tent, and then we can play with some more color by adding in colorful storage on that left side. And I feel like if you have a kid, that's going to be so useful. And next we could add in some kind of bookshelf by the couch, so that way, you know, they come on your lap and you read to them and it's all adorable and cute. This is where the fun really begins. That love seat that you have, I would make it face the window actually. And this way, I feel like it's more conversational with the L shape of the couches. And you can add in some layering with some wall art. It doesn't have to be a gallery wall. It could again be a tapestry or some kind of whatever decor you like. But we want to fill up this empty vertical space. And I know it's a rental, so you don't want to be drilling too many holes into the walls, but as long as you fix it before you leave, I mean, it's fine. And plus there's definitely some options for non-drilling wall hanging options for a gallery wall. So adding in a console table, I feel like is a really good idea here because first of all, that love seat isn't too big, so it's not going to be taking up too much space. It could be a drop zone for things when you're coming home, you could drop your keys there. It could be, could use it for decor. It just further like confirms that this space is separate. This living area space is separate and it's intentional. And I know you guys don't have a TV. You said you have a projector. So I feel like you can paint that left wall white or, some lighter color so that you could watch on the projector. And it's in a rental, it's so easy to just repaint at the end, especially if you're just doing one wall. So big picture advice here is to define your zones, how you use the space, use what you have, and try to incorporate more interest in color through, especially in a rental, through things that are removable. So like the gallery wall or storage or kids items are so fun. I love decorating with kids items, especially if you have a kid. So hopefully this one was helpful. Please let me know in the comments. And honestly, I really like your fiddle leaf plant in that corner. That's a really nice spot for it. Plus it gets enough light and it's a very nice tall size. So you have a good start, definitely. Just think about rearranging some of the furniture to make it a little bit more intentional. Okay, moving on. Room number 3, this is a therapy office in progress, and they need help choosing a design style, design direction for this space. So for this one, we're gonna start with nailing down a layout, and then I would pick a design direction and go from there. So a quick fix to the room is to add in curved elements, especially if it's a therapy office, so people feel a little safer. And when placing, I don't know how many clients you take in, but I'm sure 1 to 2 is pretty common. So I started out with 3 chairs. I would put 2 facing away from the door, make sure that their seats aren't facing the door, so subconsciously you're not like thinking of leaving or checking the door or anything like that. I would have them facing you. I would try to keep the furniture similar looking, similar in size and color, so it doesn't feel subconsciously like there's a hierarchy. And if you do have a desk or plan to use a desk, I would keep it minimal and put it maybe in the bottom right corner. That way you have a view out the window as well. Next, we can add in a credenza under the window. This way that visual weight feels balanced with the window. It actually accentuates it down. And plus, once they sit into their spots, you can offer them a snack or a drink or whatever they need. And a plant, I feel like always, that makes any space feel better. Plus, you have a window. So accentuate that vertical space. Next, we can add in a rug to further separate that your desk space and the therapy area. Again, you don't have to do a round rug. You could do a rectangular rug. I feel like a round rug, again, makes it feel more like a conversation and like we're all here together, you know, feels a little bit more comfortable than maybe a rectangular rug where, you know, there's more of those sharp corners. Next, I would add in maybe a lamp, floor lamp on the right side in the corner just to fill up the space a little bit, and then maybe some kind of, you know, coffee table or side table to have tissues on just in case. So big picture advice for this one is to always nail down a layout, at least a simple version of a layout with zones prior to, you know, doing the fun part of picking out a design style. And once you have that and you have a solid plan, it is so much easier to go shopping and, you know, pick all the fun stuff. I would also, with colors, maybe go a little bit more cool toned, calming colors like grays and beiges and blues and greens. Maybe stay away from lively, like energizing colors, unless that's what you're going for. I don't know what your practice does, but I feel like this is a good start, and I hope you have fun working from here. Okay, room number 4. They are not sure what to do with this corner. They wanted to install a china cabinet and decided not to since it would impede in the traffic flow through the dining room. So they want to add in some interest on the wall with something that's not going to take up too much space. What I would do here is add in some kind of little storage cabinet, ideally with rounded edges, especially if, you know, that space is a little bit tight. So I just went with something a little bit darker here to add in some contrast, and this way you can add in decor on top of it, you know, seasonal decor. If your tastes change, you know, it's easy to change up. Again, with the vertical space that we were talking about, taking up, you know, thinking about our walls, I would add in maybe a little candle holder or some kind of light above the art piece. And again, with the art, it's so easy to have fun and change that up. If you want to, you can make it, you know, a portrait of you guys, and then, you know, if you get tired of that, you can change it to something seasonal, something that you just like looking at. And if I could, I'd push you maybe to go with a bold color in this space. Dining rooms like this are really easy to have fun with. So I know you said you are more minimal, and I feel like by painting the wall a really bold color, you don't even have to do anything else with decor. It already accentuates the light fixture that you have, the molding that you have. The dining table has more contrast because currently it's very monotone. I would just look into maybe doing a bold color. And then also the doorway, if you want to make it feel a little bit more grand, I see in the hallway you have some casing around that doorway. I would just bring it into the dining room, especially since it is the focal point of the house. Looks like it is in the center of the house. Looks like there's a entryway in this picture and then a kitchen, so it is definitely the heart of the home, and this is going to add in more visual interest if you're looking at the dining room through the other spaces. So big picture advice here is layer, contrast, vertical weight. And the layering is super easy with this console table. You can add contrast through a more bold picture frame or more bold artwork. And then the light source also pops out and adds a little bit more layering as well. And you don't even have to light the candles. They could just be there for the vibes. Plus, I feel like they go really well with the more European vintage style dining set. So I feel like that could be really good. And maybe think about painting the walls of that dining room, since it is looks like it's a closed off, like kind of closed room, and just add some interest with the current pieces that you have. So room number 5, I feel like this one is very clear to me. I did try to think about it a little bit, but I feel like you have to extend that ledge to the ceiling. It's disrupting the vertical lines. Its contrast is drawing the eye more to it. So my solution for this would be obviously either extend it to the ceiling or maybe remove that trim and just like keep it the green wall color, so that your eye isn't at least drawn to it so much. Or, I mean, if I had to live with it, I'd probably put in a pothos plant. But at the same time, it's so high up, I probably wouldn't be watering it. So honestly, just paint it green or put it to the ceiling. I feel like that's going to be the most ideal situation. Room number 6, they just needed some help with decor on the walls and just adding visual interest. So they live in a split level ranch and there's a lot of walls going on, you know, kind of an open space. So it's just lacking a little bit of depth. So first I would remove that couch from the wall and add in something that pops out of the wall. So like floating shelves, since you already have a wall shelf, I would just commit to it and do wall storage like this. This way you can, you know, interchange it if your tastes change. And wall shelves are so fun and functional. Next, I would add in more of that sheer white curtain on the sides of the window to make it appear even larger. And next, we're going to add in a plant if you're up for it, since I see you're a plant person. We could add in a pothos plant since it's a split level ranch. The pothos just like drapes down and is so beautiful and easy. Plus, you have a window there. I saw it in other pictures, so it'll survive. And then we could do some less sheer curtains on the sides of the white sheer curtains. Or you could do a 2-track system and have the sheer curtains in the inner layer and then the less sheer, bolder curtains on the outer layer. Next, we can add in the couch back. And I would maybe think about putting it under the window so it accentuates it a little bit more. And to further push you out of your comfort zone maybe is add in a pattern. So you could do that by adding in pillows that go with your mid-century modern design aesthetic, or you could reupholster that armchair in a fabric that you like. And since you currently have a lot of solid neutral colored seating, it would just add some visual interest and further layer that space and make it more interesting. And if you guys are going to walk away with 3 things, number 1, I'd say, is to not be afraid of color. And if you are afraid of it, which is okay, I am kind of sometimes, I would just experiment with incorporating decor elements and pillows. Think about contrast. Like if you were to take a picture of your space and then put it in black and white, what are the tones? Is it looking like everything's very visually like uninteresting? Is it very contrasting, so very black and white? Our eyes just really like that contrast, and I feel like subconsciously you feel better in a space that has some contrast and color. Define your zones and your layout before a design style, and I know that's hard, especially if you're moving into a new space and you need furniture quickly. You're not really sure how you're going to be using the space, how your family will like it, how your clients will like it. I feel like it's really important, and it's going to dictate how the rest of your design process goes. So at least before going shopping, have kind of a little plan and have the dimensions of your furniture that you currently have or that you want to get. Because sometimes being in those big stores, you think that, you know, this couch is going to fit, and then you bring it home and spend all that time and then it doesn't fit. So definitely have dimensions in the back of your mind at least. And last but not least, let's not forget about vertical weight. We're all good on the bottom, I feel like. Let's not forget about our walls. Add in some wall shelves, add a gallery wall, a tapestry, whatever decor you like. It's just gonna make your space feel more you and more cohesive. This is like where your space really shines, is what you have on the walls, I feel like. Because it's a little bit more difficult than, you know, buying a couch and a coffee table, is thinking of what you're gonna do on the walls. So please comment your favorite space, and anything that you would do differently, please let me know. I mean, like, all these spaces I could probably do 20 different ways, but this is just what I came up with. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.